That's recording. We're going to get canceled in St. No, that's impossible to be canceled in St. Joe.
Action.
In St. Joe, Missouri, hear every story on the Arts Block, the Arts Block. Ladies and gentlemen, David Sandy and Elisabeth Wykert.
Does it show like sound check or anything?
Well, my name's David Sandy. I'm a professional magician. I'm a show producer, and I'm a historian. And I'm excited about this opportunity to meet and talk to all I know is Elisabeth. I said she looked familiar. I'm sure we've met before, but I'm terrible at putting faces with names and places and stuff like that. So that's who I am.
Well, I am Elisabeth Wykert. I grew up here. I'm a stand-up comedian and an online personality. And because I grew up here, that's why clearly everyone knows David Sandy, because you've been around my whole life. But if you recognize the last name, you knew my parents. But your parents leased their building. They did the buildings, was my dad's business, LC Jewelry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now it all makes sense. Now, in fact, I just talked to someone in the last couple of weeks. Was that you?
Nope.
At some event?
No.
Okay.
You were on my list to connect with. I talked with Annette Weeks, and we were talking about different artists in town. She was like, you should connect with David Sandy. And I'm like, I would love to. So I'm glad this happened.
As soon as you said stand-up comedian, it all synced. Because I remember, I've seen your name, and so you'll be the funny one today, and I'll be the mysterious one. How about that?
Can I be the mysterious one?
Hey, role reversal. That sounds good.
Normally I wear a leotard in town. That's kind of my thing. So I feel like since I'm not in a leotard, I'm going for 1982 roller rink chic.
Okay,
you know?
and I'm living the last days of summer with my white pants here. So anyway, well, it's good to formally meet you.
Yeah.
So how long have you been doing stand-up comedy? Tell me about that. What got you interested in that as a kid? Magicians usually get started as kids, but were you funny as a first grader?
I was funny. At least everyone told me I was funny. Can we cuss on this? We can't cuss on this. No. I was like, how PG do I need to be? I would always joke that my nickname when I was a kid was Smart Alec, not Alec. But I didn't know my name was Elisabeth until I was 8. So I always had like a bit of a personality on me. But yeah, always liked to perform at home, but never wanted to go into the arts as like a career because growing up here, and I grew up in Union Star, so it was even smaller, and then moved to Savannah. It's like being an artist was definitely not any sort of like in the radar of dreams. But in 2013, my husband and I moved to California. I studied acting. I picked up stand-up. I really love acting. That's my first love. And just kind of picked up every little jack of the trade. Improv. I miss improv so much.
I love watching improv.
It's so fun. And yeah, so I did all that. I started doing well online, and then the pandemic happened, and I moved back home to be close to family. And now I'm still here.
We're glad you are. You mentioned you were a smart Alec. I was always considered one too, but not because I was funny, because I always liked to play practical jokes on people as a kid. And I did some horrible practical jokes to my grandparents, I remember.
So you're going to tell.
Well, and I think the part I liked most about playing a practical joke was watching people's reaction to it. I remember as a kid, we would watch a TV show, my dad and I, called Candid Camera. And I loved these hidden camera things. I loved, regular people in unusual situations and how they react to this stuff. And so it made me want to be kind of a practical joker. And I think that's one of the things that I love so much about performing magic, because basically I'm doing magic for an audience or a person, and I love to see the way they react, and I've had some great reactions, and some I'm thinking, hello, I'm working here.
I am like the best audience member for a magic show. I love magic. When I watch it every time, my mind is blown. I'm like, don't tell me any of the secrets. I don't want to know. I don't want to watch the...
People really don't.
No, the Penn and Teller, they never tell you really. Right. They just are like, we know how you did it. You didn't fool us or whatever. Right. I did get to see a live taping of that. That was so
Oh, fantastic.
And I'm like, why is not everybody just yelling and excited? I'm like, oh my God. That's me every time.
Yes. He pulled his finger off.
But yeah, so I love being fooled in that regard. I mean, yeah, I see in my era of pranks and stuff, because you say pranks, and I definitely pulled pranks as a kid, but like my era of online media, it's always like husband-wife pranks, but they pull off like horrible pranks, and these are adults. Don't pull those kind of pranks on me. I like the magic. I like to be fooled. I like to be surprised, I guess.
Do you think all of those are real, or they're staged just for clicks and views and stuff? I'm always skeptical when I watch something.
I would say it's like reality TV. It's probably 75% staged and 25% real. That's at least my gauge of what I think reality TV is.
I have a very good friend, Michael Carbonaro, and he he did a show called The Carbonaro Effect.
I've watched it.
Oh yeah, great. He started on the Tonight Show, as the what was his name, the counter clerk or something like that, the magic clerk. And it is so amazing to watch this happen because, first of all, the mark, if you want to call it that, is in a place they probably are in every day. They certainly don't expect any magic to be happening around them. So when the guy behind the counter, does these incredible things, claiming that it's new science or a new product, I just love the reactions. And I was talking to Michael one time, and we were with some friends, and someone says, I can't believe they would fall for that. I can't believe that a person would actually fall for that. Well, think about that just a moment. If you were at a magic show and you were watching a trick, you would say, that's not real, it's a trick. But when you're in a 7-Eleven and this happens at the counter, with your big gulp or whatever it is, you're not expecting that. So your guard's down. Yes. And what you see is what you believe. And so Michael is a little bit offended sometimes when people will put down his guests on the show because, they're so stupid. Well, they're not, because you would probably fall for the same thing if you were in that very benign environment. So, yeah. But I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I love it.
I'm like, I haven't seen a lot of those shows recently. I feel like just because of streaming, I don't have cable television anymore. And so everything is on streaming. And so every now and again, I can't remember which one it was, but it was another magician who does it in the wild, I guess you could call it. And I would catch a couple episodes, but then they move streaming services. And then I'm like, I don't even know where to find it anymore. But I'll still watch magic on TV because part of it, people will start to be on the skeptic side of magic on television because it's like, well, you could do editing. And I'm like, I don't care. It's still cool. I'm still fooled. I'm still having fun.
40 years ago in 1987, almost 40 years ago, God, where does the time go? I actually had a show on here in St. Joe. It was on cable access, and it was called Show Me St. Joe. Riffing on Missouri being the show me state. And I would take cameras into the various manufacturing facilities here in town and show people how things were made. We went to the cherry mash factory, and everyone got to see that pink goo about the color of your pants, go into I think it's called an extruder or something like that. And it's very interesting because I'm mechanically minded. I like to see that. But also, one of the other segments on the show was our hidden camera segment. And I would go out, and this is before wireless microphones. I would typically be in a trench coat because I literally had a cassette player strapped to my back to record the audio. And I'd have a rolled up magazine or newspaper with a regular handheld microphone hidden in it. And, I would talk to people as though I was just an innocent bystander. And it gave me a real appreciation for people like Alan Funt and his son Peter Funt, who did Candid Camera, and Michael Carbonaro, because out of every 10 that you do, maybe you're going to get one or two that's actually funny and usable. So they're out there recording all day. But we did things around St. Joe. I remember we went into the Belt Bowl, which is no longer there, and on one of the lanes, I had rigged fishing line or catgut loop around the 10 pins, and I had someone standing behind the reset machine, and we'd wait for someone to come and go bowling. They'd go up there, we'd have to wait for them to get their ball and their rental shoes, and they sit down and put it on and then get the score thing all set up. I mean, it's a good 20 minutes before anyone throws the ball down the lane. And then when they would walk up there to bowl the first ball, they do the backswing, and just as they're start the momentum forward, we'd pull that fishing line and all the pins would fall down in a strike just as the ball is about to leave their hand. And it was funny because some people see that and they try not to let go of the ball, you know, and so they're like hopping on one foot down the lane across the foul line. But just to get one of those is an hour and a half. You know, in a full day, we got maybe four takes, and a lot of times none of them were usable. So it's a lot of hard work. I'll stick to magic because I just have to run in the corner and reset my props that way.
I would say that I kind of do a little bit of that, like old school, like in what I do. So, because I film outside, all my filming is outside, but it's always by myself. I've had a few people stop and then they film with me and stuff. But there is that issue of, there are times like I filmed on Saturday and I was filming to Travis Kelce saying something, and the line he said was grinding with the guys, and he was talking about training camp and working hard. But I was taking the flip on what that meant, the 2000s dance move, you know. But it was a Saturday in St. Joe, and there really wasn't a ton of people out. And I was like, man, wouldn't it be nice if I could have somebody who would want to dance with me, so then we could like have more than just me for this line. But like, yeah, it's really, you can't just, I feel like it's harder now, because even back in the 80s, people at least were out, so you had more people to pull from. Now it's like, it's harder. People are online, or they have all different schedules. We're open Monday through Sunday, like shops are, so you can go any which way, any day of the week.
Yeah. When David Blaine, a well-known magician, did his first TV special, you know, he's in a T-shirt and jeans, he's out on the sidewalk, and he's got this real low-key personality. And, you know, he walks up to a couple of people and say, hey, can I show you something? You know, I mean, can you... What? So creepy. He completely changed the impression of magicians, you know, because magicians were the suave David Copperfield or Lance Burton or Siegfried and Roy with all the sequins and stuff. And here's this guy in t-shirt. Hey, can I show you something? I mean, it's just expressionless face. And he was catching people in, you know, real life, everyday situations out on a sidewalk or in a park or something like that. And his specials became so popular. When his specials would come out and I would be out doing a show or I'd be out in public, people say, hey, did you see that guy on TV the other day? He bit a $50 in two, you know, and then blew it back and it appeared, you know, just little magic chop tricks that you could buy. But his approach was so different. Yeah. But I learned they had to do a lot of takes too, as well, to get anything usable.
Which I think that's the important thing of talking, like when it comes to like other artists. So I'm coming up and learning stand-up comedy and stuff like that, but if all I'm doing is watching stand-up comedy specials that are produced, and if they mess up a joke, they can go back and reset and do all of the things. There are a few stand-up comedians that I don't think do that, that I've kind of seen, and I'm just like, I don't, because they let the mess ups happen on stage and then it's still in the special. So I'm like, oh, I assume they let all the mess up. But maybe they're just fooling me even more.
You know, Johnny Carson, I mean, are you old enough to remember Johnny Carson? I mean, he was a master at this because he would get more laughs out of a joke that bombed, you know, than he would. And he had that way of looking at the camera and, you know, looking off at Fred, the producer, or something like that. So, yeah, I appreciate that as well. And, you know, a lot of times with magic, people assume everything's, well, all the magic is happening in the editing room and special effects, because now especially with AI, you know, you can make anything happen, you know, in the visual medium. But magicians, with the exception of one popular magician, they were very loyal to there are no TV camera tricks. And so Copperfield, you know, he didn't use camera tricks. Lance Burton didn't use camera tricks. Siegfried and Roy, you know, and then all what I consider the classic magicians that I watched growing up. But
I do think AI is a hard thing for artists that are obscure. Is that the right word? Because even I have had like videos that go viral and people are like, this is AI, because they just can't imagine that a human being would just go and dance. And I'm very fast paced, but I'm cutting, like doing a lot of all that. I changed my profile. It says not AI, just weird.
I like that.
And I could imagine the same, like you see a magic trick and you're just like, is this real? There's influencer. It's a bird. It's a cockatoo. It's a cockatoo influencer.
Oh, okay.
I know, right? It's like Jackson Universe or something like that. And this cockatoo is it's a hoot. Literally, it's so freaking funny. It dances and it looks like AI, but it's not. It's
a real thing.
It's a very real bird. But I hate that the AI, it makes us like distrust the cool and the illusion. There's something different about the illusion and not manipulation, but just it is just truly an illusion of cool and obscure things. And with AI, it makes us like not even want. We're like, I don't know, something that we used to love.
I'm not interested in it. I think it's AI. But I'm hopeful that this AI will help live entertainment, because live entertainment, going to see a show. I used to have theaters in Branson, and I produced shows down there for 5 years, and it was kind of at the tail end of Branson's heyday, and then I sold out at the end of 2007. But people, this is their form of entertainment. These kids sit on their phone, adults sit on their phone all day long, and I admit I get sucked into some of the reels sometimes, but I think sometimes I'm hopeful that people will get tired of that. It won't fulfill that hunger for entertainment if you're just looking at a screen, particularly if it's all fake, because it's all AI generated. And hopefully that put people back in the theaters and the concert halls, to experience it real. Because you can't use AI, or not at least that I know of today, you can't use AI doing something live on stage to make the magic work. So anyway.
I see it as a big swing. I feel like just in the past couple years with AI in visual form, because AI has always been with other things, but as another form of art. I mean, it has still CGI, but CGI, you still needed a person behind it.
Right.
But it was almost like I've seen it swing to oh, this is so cool. And then everybody used it and everybody swung really far back and they're like, oh, we hated it. It's like a huge pendulum swing. So it's I feel like I'm already seeing that. But how you said, just getting people back in person, that's what I crave. And that's what I love seeing live in person. And the same of if we just watch comedy specials or we just watch little clips over and over and we never introduce also the live whole performance, we miss out on so much. We miss out on real human connection and how it is supposed to be. And then if you go to a show, you're like, well, that wasn't polished like a special. Well, yeah, because it's not all the lights and cameras and edits and tricks.
Right. Yeah.
It's real.
Yeah. And you're seeing it in real time. No one's had a chance to go back and fix the mistakes. Lisa Kudrow is in a streaming show that I cannot think of the name of it, where she's an actress in a sitcom. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking. I have not watched it, but I think it's on Peacock or something.
The last few episodes, or the last thread of episodes, it was all about them using AI to write the script, basically for comedy shows. What do you think about that? I'm assuming that the jokes and scenarios that you share in your stand-up, they all come from a personal experience, or at least the creative side of it's come from here, not some computer. But what do you think about comedians and not just stand-up or comic actors or comic producers using AI to create all of this stuff?
I mean, it's probably happened for a while.
You think so?
Well, I mean, even the downhill of just not streaming, comedy shows in general, like sitcoms and stuff. I feel like some of the writing is just, we get the repeats and the reuses, and it's just kind of well, we're just relying on the stars that are in it or whatever. So I'm sure it's been in there and we just didn't know. I don't know how you could though, as for stand-up comedy,
right?
Because how many times have I had people say, oh, I got a really good story for you to use on stage. Let me tell you about my life story and then give you this 10-minute long story. And I'm like, I will never use this.
Right.
But even the really funny ones, I'm like, well, I would never use it because it didn't happen to me. And it's not, at least my style of comedy, I normally go into the storytelling-esque of it all. It's my truthfulness and then finding the humor and then the little embellishments and the different things. And
do you
finding
do observational comedy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Storytelling, observational. And I mean, I flow in the punchlines. And then I do a lot of musical comedy. I do love. In 2020, the very beginning of 2020, I put in my first comedy song in my act. Oh. And that was when it clicked for me. I was like, oh, I like stand-up comedy. And then I was like, 2020 is going to be my year for stand-up. And I submitted to a bunch of festivals. And then March happened, and that didn't work out.
Right.
Some of them I did online, which was fun. But I kept making the music. And then so now, like my hour special, which I'm working on, and I just branched off my YouTube channel because my algorithm was all messed up. And I have just like a comedy YouTube channel. So I'm trying to get it monetized so then I can put out my special that I produced and did everything my own. But I'm like, how many songs are in it? There's probably about 6 songs.
So you're a singer as well?
Well, I'm a rapper. Okay.
Oh, okay. All right.
I do have like a couple songs. So like I did a parody of Popular. That was definitely very challenging for me because I'm not confident singing. I'm confident rapping, but singing, it was just so good. It was about all of the hate comments I get. So I'm going to make you popular. And by putting up their faces.
You're being compared to Kristen Chenoweth.
Yes, yes. And it was after that I like did it on stage. I did it on stage at the Missouri Theaters where I debuted it. I rented out the theater myself and I put on my own show. I brought in my friends because I know a lot of friends and did like a variety show. And I put it out there and I was just like, oh my gosh, I sounded so horrible. And then I watched the playback and I was like, okay, I was not that bad. I think I need a vocal coach to remind me, like, to put the confidence in. So I've been working with a vocal coach for the past year who's local as well, just to, like, kind of help bring that out. Because I do occasionally put some songs in there. And I won't make your ears bleed. That's my...
I'm just curious. You know, magicians are inspired by seeing other magicians. And we kind of individually put different magicians from the past on pedestals. And they've inspired us. Who are some comedians that I would be familiar with that you found to be inspiring or your favorites or anything along those lines?
I mean, it depends if you're asking like stand-up or movie and all of that.
Let's say stand-up.
Because I'm like, for stand-up, I mean, technically it still counts, but Jim Carrey's stand-up didn't inspire me, even though he did do stand-up. Because I've watched some of his older stand-up, because he came out when I was younger. I really do like John Mulaney, at least his earlier stuff. He went through a lot of, as anybody does, a lot of life things, so I haven't watched his earlier stuff, like his new stuff. What's his name? Joe Birbiglia. Joe Birbiglia? Birbiglia. Mike Birbiglia. Is that his name? Mike Birbiglia.
I don't know, so we'll go with it, and I'll just nod my head like you're right.
Birbiglia. He is amazing. He is like the most fantastic storyteller on the planet. You watch his show, and he just is having a conversation with you, but you're laughing the entire time. You just feel like you're having a great conversation with a friend. And then you think about the things he said. And yeah, he did have some punchlines in there, and he's very methodical on how he orchestrates like his stories and his jokes and the things. But it doesn't feel like somebody was just serving up punchline after punchline after punchline. It was just like a good story. And then Eliza Schlesinger, I like watched her since I think, at least what I think, the beginning of. I saw her in like 2012 in Kansas City, and I've just watched her career and her specials and her live. And she's a really great female comedian who, again, stories, but then she does deliver, and she's very animated, and I get animated. And it's just like, how do you just think of doing like this big old thing where you do this and then you go off on this like little curtail? So I think that just gives me permission to kind of go off and around and about.
Did you like some of the comedians from way back, like the 70s and 80s, who were popular, like Joan Rivers or Steve Martin?
I watched Steve Martin. I have Steve Martin's book. A friend gave it to me when I did my first stand-up. Yeah. I never have gone back and watched Joan Rivers. I have seen the Eddie Murphy specials. I have gone back and watched Dave Chappelle. But earlier than that, why can't I think of his name? What's the most famous guy from like the 80s to 90s? He's passed now.
Stand-up?
George Carlin?
Yes. George Carlin I've gone back and seen.
Yeah. I love Steve Martin.
Yeah.
And when I found out he was a magician,
I know
that he worked at the Disneyland Magic Shop, and I knew the guy that hired him. Sadly, Leo is passed now, but he would tell stories. Steve would be standing behind the counter just doing magic tricks for kids, and hopefully the parents would buy this stuff for their kids. So
ask. So I'm here in St. Joe, and I'm all about like making St. Joe great because I live here, so I want to enjoy things. And I think there's plenty to do. People will always complain, there's nothing to do in St. Joe. There's nothing to do. But clearly there is, and you're adding to it because I heard about the museum. Is the museum open?
No, it'll be probably next summer before it's open.
Oh, okay.
The construction should be done by the end of October, and then we have to go in, we have to equip the theater, actually the 2 theaters, because there's actually 2 theaters inside of it, and build all the displays and set it up. So that'll be like a winter spring project. So we're hoping for next summer.
So it is a history museum for magic. Is this correct?
Yes.
Am I getting it right?
Yeah. Well, it's a little bit of everything. It's my dream. At the end of the day, it's my dream. Growing up on a farm, I always would read about a place in Hollywood, California called the Magic Castle. And I thought, oh gosh, I'd love to visit. Well, I did get to visit, and I started visiting regularly. I started performing there. A little over 20 years ago, in 2003, they surprised me with an incredible honor that Magic Castle made me an honorary lifetime member.
Aww.
And there's only a handful of people that can claim that, so that was a huge.
Okay, we got to take a break because legit, because I lived in LA for 8 years, and like so I know Magic Castle performers and all that. That is. See, this is where I get so frustrated with St. Joe people. There are a lot of St. Joe people who are like, St. Joe's great, but then you have the other half that don't realize that super special people like you are here. And
Did you ever visit the Magic Castle?
I didn't get to go.
Oh well, anytime you want to go, let me know because I can get you in. I can get you in.
It was I worked with somebody who was a consult at my office job that I was at, and he was a magician there, and he's like, "Hey, I'm going to perform." 2020 and I was like, oh great, I had like for April, it was April 2020 that I was gonna go.
Wow.
And that was my I know I was like so
too bad.
But
well,
like,
I always dreamed of this place, and I thought, oh, I'd love to have my own place.
Yeah.
And so a number of years ago I bought a building here in downtown St. Joseph. That didn't really work out. I had some pushback from the city, so I bought land outside of the city limits of St. Joseph, just over the line, and I've built an 18,000 square foot building, and it will house my enormous collection. I have historical magic props, like literally thousands. I've got 10 or 11 versions of Sawing a Woman in Half as it's evolved over the year. So we're going to put my stuff in there. And there's also a theater, a full proscenium theater, and it'll seat just under 200 people, theater style, or about 130 banquet style. We've got a little 30-seat theater in there where people can watch magic more intimately. We've got a dining chamber, so you can come in and have your own private dinner. It only seats 12, plus me and my partner Lance, and magical things will happen all the way through dinner. It's gonna be so cool.
You are literally bringing magic to St. Joe, like
well,
literally.
It's a private museum, so no one's gonna sit out there selling tickets at the door, but we will make opportunities for people to come because it's gonna take a minimum number of people to do the tour to make it worthwhile, because besides Lance, Rich, and myself, we're going to have 3 or 4 other people behind the scenes, because as you take the tour through the museum, all these magical things are going to happen on the journey. So it's very interactive. It's not like a static museum that you just walk through and read all the little placards and stuff like that. So it's a dream come true. I'm so excited about it. So I'm
excited about it because I've only heard like the little articles here and there, and so hearing it from you, like that's just amazing. And that's why I love like you're here and you're putting it in the area.
I'm selfish. I'm doing it for myself. It's my red sports car convertible that I worked so hard for all my life. But, we have a beautiful performing arts facility, the Missouri Theater here in town, and you can go see shows. In fact, these shows are coming, great shows, and people just need to get out. But that's 1,200 seats. My theater is going to be around 200 seats with a full proscenium stage, plenty of backstage, and so it hopefully will fill a niche for people who want to do things there as well. Organizations that want to have Christmas parties, and you'll have to come out and do some stand-up.
I know, I will do a show.
I'll open for you, okay?
I would love that.
So
I do shows here, and I've done like at coffee shops, and then I did the Bradford Ranch, Old McDonald's farm last year, and we did like dinner and a show. I rented out the Missouri Theater twice, but it was very big. But I mean, I have high hopes, and it ended it up. I didn't lose money. That's all
Yeah.
I ever care about.
That's all that matters.
But it's the same thing. I'm selfish. I want to have good things in St. Joe. And I know a lot of people. And I know you know a lot of people. And so I'm like, why can't I bring those people here and we put on some fun stuff and then people want to come to St. Joe? If you can get people to St. Joe for Chiefs training camp, you can get people to St. Joe for the arts, for anything else.
Yeah. The arts are a lot of people don't realize how important the arts are to a community. But it not only provides entertainment at a time when people need to be entertained and their mind off the problems in the world or at home or whatever like that. It's a momentary escape, but it also can inspire younger people to take up music or acting or comedy or magic or something like that. And I got interested in magic when I was 6. I'll be 63 here in a few months. And so, I spent my whole life, and magic has literally taken me all around the world and provided me with some of the best friends I have in my life and some of the best experiences that anyone could hope for. And so I'm excited to work with you.
Yes.
We'll team up and do something together, and we'll do a big variety show.
I love that.
So that'd be a lot of fun. So make sure you let me know when you're going to do a next thing, because I want to come and see it.
2027. Okay? I'm planning on doing the winter tour again.
Can I show you a trick of any one of those cards real quick? That one, hold out your hand flat. Okay, put your thumb on top. Do you know how many cards are in a deck of playing cards?
52.
You're exactly right. Let me see what you got. Oh, that's a good one, Elisabeth. On the count of 3, name any one of those 52 cards. Doesn't matter. Any one at all. Change your mind if you want. Just settle on one. On the count of 3.
Spades.
Everybody says the Ace of Spades. You sure you want to say the Ace of Spades? Because if I turn this over and show you the Ace of Spades, you're going to say, oh, everybody. You want to change it to a more obscure one?
Jack of Clubs.
The Jack of Clubs. If I turn this over and show you the Jack of Clubs, would you be amazed?
It's not. What is it? Ace of Spades.
Here it is. Jack of Clubs. It's right there on the second row, right there between the 10 of clubs. And I even got your Ace of Spades there, too. It's like a double whammy. Now, see, that didn't fool you, but it made you laugh.
Yeah,
so we are more closely related than some people might think. It's been a bright time visiting with you, Elisabeth.
Nice re-meeting you.
You've been listening to The Arts Block, promoted by 816 Live. Get your tickets to any of our upcoming concerts at ticketstotheshow.com.